all the unique characters.
I do let him bang. Yeah, I'm a legend, man. I'm building my legacy.
All the stories and perspectives featured weekly.
I wasn't fully committed to that choke, and I kind of sunk into it, started squeezing tighter, and I kind of heard him gurgle a little bit. I was like, oh.
And all the combat sports you could ask for in the best state in the U.S.
Like I said, Ohio versus the world. It's going to happen for sure. Watch out.
It'll be cool, man. I'm not worried about it. I'm going to show them why the Ohio MMA scene is, in my opinion, one of the best MMA scenes in the country.
This is Forged in OH.
IO.
OH.
IO.
OH.
IO.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 112 of Forged in Ohio. My name is Jake Murren, and I'm the host of the podcast. And today, I'm joined by yet another undefeated fighter on the rise. This man started his career 5 years ago and has since gone 5-0 in mixed martial arts. He's slowly but surely climbed his way up the bantamweight rankings in Ohio, and he recently took down the #1 ranked guy by winning the BCM Promotions Bantamweight Championship. Representing Fightopia, it's Kyle Bam Bam Barga. Thanks for coming on the show, Kyle, and welcome to Forged in Ohio.
You for having me, man. It's a pleasure. Thank you very much.
Yeah, of course, the pleasure's all mine getting you on here on Forged in Ohio, and there's no better way to start than your title win at BCM Promotions Fight Night 20, where you became their new bantamweight champion. What comes to mind when you think back to that night on February 22nd?
Oh, man. Thinking back, it was a lot of preparation, obviously. Kobe was #1 for a reason. I mean, he's the Grim Reaper for that weight class. Like, him trying to find fights, I know is difficult. I was under the radar, but me trying to find fights was really, really hard. That's why I was fighting up a weight class. So just getting the matchup was hard in general. So Kobe and I messaged a little bit, pulled some strings, and made it happen. And I'm glad that I did. I mean, we kind of went in there with the game plan of kind of knowing what his game plan was and executed ours pretty much to a T. So a lot of hard work, but we got the job done.
Yeah, that you did. And fighting in Millersburg, your opponent's hometown, and only the second main event of your career, was also the first title shot you've had. Just what were the emotions like going into fight night?
I mean, I've been doing this for, going on 6 years. So, kind of the nerves weren't there. It was kind of long anticipated. First title, going against the #1 guy. It was just a lot of anticipation. It was just anxiety, I guess, not so much nervousness. Like I said, it was pretty much just faith in my coaches and my training, and having, being the underdog and having the pressure on. I knew it was time that I could show out. So not really worried or anything, but yeah, just anxious to get in there, man.
Yeah, it sounds like you were super hungry to step in the cage that night. Did you feel like you really had something to prove, maybe a chip on your shoulder fighting Kobe?
Dude, I've been saying it for a long time, and I will keep saying it. I said it after the interview. I said it in a couple interviews before. To be the best, you got to beat the best. I've been flying under the radar for a long time. I know what I'm capable of. Everybody in my gym knows what I'm capable of. So I know that I can compete with the best. It was just a matter of showing it. I know that I can be the best in Ohio. I mean, according to Tapology, I'm still #2 after I beat the #1 guy, but I've always known that I can compete with the best. So being able to prove that is something that I hold dear. So.
And to that point, Kobe Carr-Pierce was the best, obviously your toughest opponent today. You referred to him as the Grim Reaper of the division. I'm sure it was a special night for you for many, many reasons, but was one of them just the fact that you earned the win over a guy like that?
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, him being the best, there was a lot for me to prove. And honestly, walking into that night, I didn't have anything to lose up until then. Like I said, I've been skating under the radar. Nobody really knew who I was. I was unranked at 135. Nobody knew really of me. I'm ranked number 8 at 145. So like I had nothing to lose going in there. I think the pressure was a lot on him because I was the underdog in his backyard for his promotion that he's already fought for numerous times. So yeah, like going in there, I had a lot that I wanted to prove. So nothing to lose, but everything to gain. And that's what I was going in there with, that attitude.
Is that a setting that I guess you thrive in when you are considered to be the underdog, going into somebody else's hometown, and maybe not all the eyes are on you, but you're going in there with, again, something to prove?
Yeah, absolutely. Like just for instance, pretty much every time that I've had to fight up in Cleveland, it's usually in somebody's backyard. When I fought for Cage Thunder both times, first fight wasn't in his backyard. He actually came from out of state. Second time when I fought Malcolm Jackson, right there in Malcolm's backyard. So like pretty much every time that I've got to make a boot, like a haul, I'm usually in somebody's backyard. So I'm always going to be the underdog. And I honestly love that feeling. Like I get more nervous fighting at home than I do when I'm going somewhere else and having to fight somebody else where they're comfortable. So
when it comes to the fight itself at BCM Promotions Fight Night 20, just how happy are you with the body of work, with your performance in the cage?
Like I said, game plan kind of went to a T. I would change a little bit overall, like result wise, obviously. I did enough in the judges' eyes that I won. And I do feel that I won even after watching it. So like performance wise, I think there was little tweaks that I could have made, gauging the distance. He's very he's weirdly long and fast. So that was something that I didn't really prepare for, like his quickness and his like length to be able to close the distance so fast. I mean, we knew that was something that he was good at, but getting in there and feeling it, I feel like I definitely should have probably seen that coming a little more and tweaked it a little bit. But overall, performance-wise, I'm pretty happy with my performance. I've got one of the coldest photos of all time from that performance. So pretty happy overall, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I imagine that you are. And going to the scorecards, obviously, it was a split decision in your favor. And we mentioned how it was in Kobe's hometown. I know watching it back, you feel like you did enough to earn the win. But in the moment, after that third round, before the judges' scorecards are actually read, how are you feeling? Walk me through those emotions.
So I knew I could not leave it to the judges, and I was trying to finish that fight by any means possible. I knew both of us being purple belts in jiu-jitsu, him being longer and fast, like I knew that was the game that I wasn't trying to play. So I knew that my cards being like the hand that I was dealt was going to be the best standing up. I did everything I could. I hit him with a lot of big shots. So I was trying to do everything I could, and I knew that the judges were going to score it in favor of him. I think after watching that fight and seeing how they would have scored it, so when he took me down, I think it was a matter of who was doing the most on the ground. Like, even though he was on top of me, he wasn't doing a whole lot. I was progressing the entire time. I was always working for a position to get out. Like, he wasn't capitalizing on a lot of those things. And I think they seen the activity, and that's probably why they gave me the nod. Like I said, I definitely with the activity, I feel like I did a lot more off my back than he did when he was on top.
So I asked about the emotions before the fight, but what about after, when you're getting that belt wrapped around your waist and you essentially did exactly what you said you were going to do that night?
So kind of like backtracking to what I was just talking about. I knew that I couldn't keep it or leave it to the judges. So I even told Kobe, like, it was a good fight. No, it's going to be close. If they give me the nod, then obviously, like, I wasn't going to hate on it, man. Like, it was going to be tough either way. I knew my job. I didn't succeed in putting him out. So it could have gone either way. So me getting my hand raised in that moment, like, we're both standing there, and it was kind of just like surreal. I didn't think they would have given me the nod because, you know, he was the favorite. So getting the title wrapped around me was definitely surreal. It kind of felt like the me saying that I am going to beat the best kind of came into fruition. And I feel like I got a lot more to prove, and I'm actually hungrier now that I'm the champion. I got a lot more people I want to beat up.
I love that, man. The title itself, I've talked to several amateur champions here on Forge in Ohio, and I've heard mixed things about the significance of an amateur title. How much stock do you put into your new BCM Bantamweight Championship?
I mean, BCM, they're a great promotion. They're one of the bigger ones here in Ohio. It's not the championship itself, honestly. The championship isn't even what I was going after. It was the number one ranking. That's literally what I wanted. The title is just a perk to it. I think as an amateur getting titles, it's not as necessarily like the title that you get. It is, I guess it's a combination of a few things. It's who you beat for that title and then who you got that title from. BCM being a big organization in Ohio, a big promotion in Ohio, and then beating the number one guy, I think that gives it a lot of stock. So I've got a lot of momentum behind me now going into my next title fight. And then, so on from there and progressing into my pro career. So I do think that gives me a lot of stock. Yes.
You just talked about how you're even more hungry now that you are that top guy in your division, and it's hard to argue against you being the best 135er in the state of Ohio, even though, again, on Tapology, you might be ranked second, even though that doesn't make much sense right now. But being as hungry as you were in the 5 years that you're competing, chasing down that number one ranked position, now that you are that guy and have the target on your back, how does that change your mindset as you continue on forward in your career?
I've kind of lived the motto of just being and staying hungry, no matter what. I think me being the champion now and now having the target on my back, I just bring it on, man. This is my opportunity to prove why I'm on top. It's not just beating that guy who was in front of me now. It's proving that all these guys who want my spot, they can't take it. So it makes me more hungry. It makes me want to beat everybody and show them why I am the best. I've been saying it for a long time.
Talking with Kyle Bam Bam Barga here on Forged in Ohio. So you made your debut 5 years ago, and all you've done is win in MMA. Did you ever imagine that winning an amateur title would be possible and your journey would play out the way it did?
Yes and no. I definitely thought a title was going to be, within my grasp. No, because I thought it was going to be a lot sooner. I've had to take a couple different layoffs just due to injuries and just life happening and stuff like that. But yeah, I knew that it was inevitable. I knew that I would be at the top. I just thought it would have happened a lot quicker. Been doing it for 5 years. There's guys who fight as amateurs and they've only been fighting for 2 years and they're at the top and they're champions. Just having life happen and injuries and, just overcoming that stuff. Just definitely thought it would have happened way quicker.
What have you learned, I guess, just what have you learned most about yourself in this 5-year journey of being a combat sports athlete?
I think I'm a lot tougher than I give myself credit for. I persevere. Again, just not really knowing of when to quit, and that's part of the reason why I've gotten injured. So pushing through injuries and then getting more hurt and then being like, okay, you have to stop being dumb, just take the time, stop being so tough and quit training. So that's definitely something I've learned to just learn how to pace myself, learn when to chill out. Other thing is I just said perseverance is I thrive in the being the underdog environment. You know what I mean? That's definitely something that I've learned too, is every time that I go somewhere where I'm uncomfortable, it's it makes me hungry, man.
When did this dream to become an MMA fighter actually come to fruition for you? When was the first time that you actually dreamed of being an MMA fighter?
7 years old. I was watching, I don't remember the exact fight night that it was. I was watching it with my dad. I told my dad when I was 7 years old that I wanted to do that one day. A couple years later, I started doing martial arts. I was doing Taekwondo, and I did that for years. And then I started wrestling in high school, and then it spiraled into this chaos that we do now. But 7 years old, I knew what I wanted to do, and it's just been a mission of seeking it out. So.
Man, that's incredible. I feel like at 7 years old, I didn't even know what mixed martial arts was at the time, but for you, it became your dream. Have you ever wavered en route to achieving that goal and making that dream a reality, or any burnout along the way, or were you always just motivated by that dream in mind?
So with life, like I said, the layoffs with life happening and stuff like that, just having to persevere through it. So there's definitely been times where like I'm second guessing, is this what I should do? Is this what I should follow right now? But overall, no matter what I've done, no matter where the track has taken me, it's always led back to like right now. So it doesn't matter what injury I sustained, where I was financially, where I was with my job, something like that. It was always like, what do I have to do to keep doing what I'm doing now? So life throws curveballs. You just got to know how to hit it.
Was there a moment in the last 5 years where things seemingly started to click for you, where you knew that this dream could actually become a reality for you?
Within the last year, obviously I knew that I would be at the top eventually. It's having the relationship. So I've been to 3 different gyms since I started this journey. The one that I started at, I'm still very close with my original coach. The second gym that I started at, I was there for 2.5 years. I started coaching, like assistant coaching there. Took it over with one of my best friends, Eddie Saunders. And then we ended up moving to Fightopia. So within the last, year or so, I'm getting that relationship with Johnny and Chelsea, and, being able to hear where they gauge me and where they think I'm at, and just having the trust in them. That really like gives me, a good idea of, my coaches believe in me. So this is, I should believe in myself. So like we've got a whole goal laid out for the rest of this year and kind of what we're shooting for. So, and I credit that all to Johnny and Chelsea, man.
Yeah, I guess what makes Fightopia different from the rest? Obviously, you talk about the 3 gyms that you've been affiliated with, and then Fightopia, things really started to click. Just what about that gym really brought you to the next level?
I'll be the first one to say it. When I first started, I was coming out of like coaching. I kind of had like, I still wanted to prove something to like Johnny and Chelsea. Johnny and I's relationship wasn't like the greatest when I first started, when he first got to know me. So being able to like just sit back and listen to the guy who's got 20 years of coaching ability. He's got, Chelsea is, got pretty much every state title as an amateur, and she's got, I think, 2 world titles as well. And she's a, professional for LFA. So having the coach who's got 20 years of experience and the pro female in-house that has oogles and bugles of experience as well, they elevate all of us. And then, the guys who are in the upper echelon, we're elevating the guys that are coming up now. So it's just like this revolving door of just like new talent, or the guys that are, already at the top. It's just iron sharpens iron at that point. So the environment, the people that are there, the coaches that we have, we are different. And I'm glad, honestly, that I made a post last week after the fight that I think officially Fightopia is one to be, like, you can't fuck with us now, man. You know what I mean? Like, everybody should acknowledge where we are now.
Yeah, that they should. And throughout your career, you've only fought once every calendar year, and you mentioned just life and the layoffs attached to that. I'm sure you're hoping that changes with this win coming in February, and you mentioned how you kind of have 2025 laid out. Can you just talk about what this year maybe has in store for you?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll kind of backtrack on why I didn't fight after June of last year. So we had our Hobart show at Hobart Arena in Troy. Last year was the last time I fought. Had just some life stuff issues going on. I was actually supposed to I got asked about the Kobe Carr-Pierce fight, I think in November or October. Had some stuff going on, so I wasn't able to do that. So then we postponed it. So I was originally going to fight twice last year. And then obviously going into this and then now seeing what the future holds. We're having our Hobart Arena show again in June. So plan on fighting on that card, getting another title for that promotion. That'll put me at 2 titles here in the state of Ohio. And then I guess they announced, like the athletic commission announced, that there's going to be a new title in Ohio, the Ohio State Championship. So if you hold 2 belts and 2 promotions, you can fight somebody with the exact same accolades as you, and you guys can fight for the Ohio State Championship, which I think is awesome. So that's kind of where I'm shooting for. Is I want to fight in June, beat up whoever they put in front of me, win that second title, and then fight for the Ohio State Championship. And that's going to give me, this upper echelon of the MMA fighters, whoever they can find who's got 2 titles and 2 different, promotions, so we can duke it out and really prove who's number one.
Yeah, that's incredible, and that's actually the first I'm hearing of this as well. And being 5-0, being an amateur champion, sounds like June is next for you, but that Ohio State Championship, I'm sure that would put you up there in a whole different echelon. Just how much motivation do you get from that alone, just striving after that goal?
Man, like I said, being the champ now, I'm hungry because that's what I want to shoot for. I think, undisputedly, if you win that title, that shows, this kid has to be the number 1 person in Ohio. And then you can turn pro after that. You're the number 1 amateur coming up, gives you a lot of stock, gives you a lot of respect. People are going to know who you are. And then when you turn pro, there's going to be a lot of people who are going to want to sign that guy. So I think that's the layout. And that's why I'm so hungry, is because, like I said, with Johnny and Chelsea being behind me and being able to kind of gauge where I'm at, and their trust in me, puts my trust in them. So I definitely think that's the goal for, this year. However long it may take, it's going to be June, and then shooting for that Ohio State Championship. And I think that came about, I don't know if it was Scott Corbin or maybe it was Tim Fairbanks that said something about it. I never heard of it until after that BCM show, and we were, talking with them. And if it's a real thing, that's what I'm shooting for.
Once again, this is Kyle Bam Bam Barga on Forged in Ohio. I don't want to get too far ahead of myself, but I'm sure that idea of turning pro has at least creeped into your mind once or twice now that you are 5-0 and hold an amateur title. When looking at your trajectory, where does turning pro fall in line?
I'm not rushing anything by any means. I'm going to take the fights as they come. Like I said, I'm hungry. I do want to win these. I'm going to be in camp pretty much probably all year long because I want to stay ready. I want to be ready. But I'm not rushing anything. So after, this Ohio State Championship, if it's a thing, and let's say that I win that title, I'm not going to be rushing. I just want to be a pro now. I'll take, whatever's coming then, because being an amateur, it's all about the experience that you get. There are, however, perks and there's stock and benefits that you get from that, though. So when you go to the next level from amateur to pro, there's, all your accolades as an amateur are a result of, all of your experience. So
we've kind of talked about your short-term goals in 2025, but I'm not sure if you're a long-term thinker or anything like that. What would you say some of your goals are in mixed martial arts in the long term?
In the long term, I don't really think too far ahead. Like I said, I kind of want to take the fights as they come, just get the experience as it goes. Whoever they offer me, I'm not going to say no. Because again, it's just about getting all the experience. But I would say if I had to guess a long term, it would be get as much experience as I can within this year. Whatever Johnny and Chelsea want me to do, as far as if they want me to have an extended amateur career, if they want me to turn pro, then that's the goal. And then turning pro is, the big one that a lot of people liked fighting on is LFA. So LFA, getting on that and, getting signed to them would be a huge deal. And then really being able to show my capabilities fighting for them would be awesome.
Coming off the win on February 22nd, do you allow yourself to smell the roses, enjoy these wins, or are you truly never satisfied, always looking forward to what's next?
A little bit of both. I don't ever really get to, like stop and just relax. I'm, always in the gym. I'm always on the grind, working for the next thing. After this one, I get to take a little bit of time. We have a vacation coming up in the next few weeks. So, I get to unwind and relax a little bit. And then pretty much when we get back, it's right back, just on the grind, right back to getting a title. So yeah, it's a little bit of both. I get to take my time. I got the last week off because my feet are beat up, but
Well, there you go, man. I can't wait to see what 2025 has in store for you, and maybe this Ohio State Championship can come to fruition as well. Just before we wrap up, I want to give you the opportunity to shout out or mention anything you want to here on Forged in Ohio.
yeah, I will. I'm gonna definitely shout out my gym. Like I said, Fightopia. We are one to reckon with. We've got numerous top 10 fighters here in Ohio as amateurs. We've got I don't know what she's ranked on Tapology, but in my opinion, she's, one of the top 5, if not the number 1 female in the nation. She definitely, she's having a baby right now. But when she comes back, she's every bit as hungry as all of us, man. So shouting out Chelsea and Johnny. Couldn't do that without those guys. My strength and conditioning coach, Mick Roberts, and then just all those goons back at the gym that get to beat me up every day. Like, couldn't do it without any of those guys either.
All right. Well, thanks again, Kyle, for joining the show. I'm thrilled for you and the team that you got the job done on February 22nd. And one more thing before I let you go, I end all these chats by doing the OHIO chant. So if you could help me out here, OH.
IO.
Thank you, Kyle. I appreciate the time. Congrats again on becoming an amateur champ, and we'll talk again on here soon, man.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, man.
That was Kyle Bam Bam Barga, the 5-0 amateur mixed martial artist and BCM Promotions' newest bantamweight champion. It's always a privilege to be joined by a title holder in Ohio MMA. I know some people value them more than others, but having the word champion associated with your name should definitely count for something. Kyle's clearly very skilled, and I'm excited to see how he develops as he continues his amateur MMA career. Now, a few notes before I get out of here. The code LAUNCH10 still applies on the Forged in Ohio shop for 10% off. Head over to our Instagram, Facebook, and X at Forged in Ohio, and you'll find the link to all of our merchandise there. It's also linked in the description of this podcast episode. Prices are low already, and you can get them even lower for a limited time, so go take advantage of that. And don't forget to tell your friends about the podcast as well, and make sure you're subscribed to the Forged in Ohio YouTube channel. Thank you all for watching or tuning in. I've been your host, Jake Murren, and this was Forged in Ohio.